must have been refreshing. I request everyone to rise up once again to joyously applaud for the dignitaries as they join us once again in this auditorium of Oxford Public School. Our dignitaries are walking in. I request them to kindly take the seats. The setup has been put up on the stage. Kindly applaud for with us. We have our Chief Guest, Dr. Rajesh, our Judge, Dr. Shreya Pande, our Academic Director, Dr. Simi Mehta, the Principal, Mr. Ranjit Kumar Thakur, with us. Kindly sit down, your delegates. I also welcome the Judges Associates, Mr. Silpa Gupta and Mr. Simran Aditi. I request them to kindly take their seats at the designated places. And now, having settled once again, we finally are ready to start off with a panel discussion. Model United Nations give us the chance to practice tolerance, celebrate diplomacy and mutual respect on an international floor. MUN is our opportunity to voice our opinion and to share it with the world's leaders. It is a forum to create tomorrow's world leaders. It opens the door into policies, into diversity, and into the future we create. And for me at this juncture, it is a privilege to introduce the two very talented and efficient students who would chair and co-chair the conference. Kindly applaud for them as I give the introduction. Bhavya Ranjan, the head girl of the school, is a student from grade 12 and she is the chair. She is an experienced delegate in MUN conferences with participation in discussions on global issues like Russia-Ukraine war and climate change. She is adept at research, coordination and communication and maintains academic excellence alongside active participation in extracurricular activities. Once again, for the chair, Bhavya Ranjan, give a huge round of applause. And the co-chair, Nidhi Kumari, the cultural secretary of the school, is a student of grade 12, is nothing less in any means. She is a passionate debater and dedicated leader who brings with her a strong sense of diplomacy and critical thinking to the committee. She possesses past MUN experience as a delegate and has keen interest in international relations. She is skilled in research, event coordination, and public speaking. Kindly give a huge round for Nidhi Kumari. I now hand over the mic to Bhavya and Nidhi, the moderators of today's event, who will take the conference further with the general guidelines and roll call and session 1, that is general speakers list. As I leave the days, I thank all of you, the delegates, for your commitment and wish you all the very best and the most stimulating conference. Moderators, over to you now.
Delegates, welcome to the 3rd OPS MUN Conference 2025. Today, you step into the roles of global leaders, engaging in critical discussions on the agenda, healing the Middle East, addressing the Israel-Palestine conflict, and ensuring humanitarian relief. This session provides an opportunity to debate, collaborate, and formulate solutions to one of the most pressing humanitarian challenges of our time. We encourage you to approach this discussion with diplomacy, open-mindedness, and a commitment to constructive dialogue.
Before we begin, let us take a moment to review some general instructions to ensure the smooth functioning of the conference. Delegates are expected to maintain decorum and diplomatic conduct at all times. The use of mobile phones and electronic devices is permitted only for research relevant to the debate. Any unauthorized usage is strictly prohibited. Delegates experiencing personal discomfort may raise a point of personal privilege. To ensure the smooth flow of debate, delegates are encouraged to use this point only when necessary. Additionally, all motions and points must be raised by clearly stating them and waiting to be recognized by the chair. We encourage constructive debate and mutual respect throughout this session.
Attention delegates, please take your seats. I hereby call the United Nations General Assembly Special Session to order.
We shall now proceed with the roll call. When called upon, delegates must respond with either present or present and voting, the latter indicating a waiver of the right to abstain in substantive matters. Algeria, Argentina, Australia, Bangladesh, Belgium, Brazil, Canada, China, Czech Republic, Denmark, Democratic People's Republic of Korea, Egypt, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, India, Indonesia, Iran, Iraq, Ireland, Israel, Italy, Japan, Jordan, Kuwait, Lebanon, Lithuania, Malaysia, Maldives, Mexico, Monaco, Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Oman, Pakistan, Poland, Portugal, Qatar, Romania, Russian Federation, Saudi Arabia,
Singapore, South Africa, Spain, State of Palestine, Sweden, Switzerland, Syria, Thailand, Turkey, Ukraine, United Arab Emirates, United Kingdom, United States of America, Venezuela, Yemen, Zimbabwe,
all delegates are present and we have full participation for the session.
We shall now proceed. Are there any points or motions on the floor? Delegate of Israel, you have been recognized.
Motion to move into the general speakers list on the preset agenda with the individual speaking time of 90 seconds and total speaking time of 4 hours.
Is there a second? Delegates in favor? Delegates opposed? Seeing majority, the motion clearly passes. The committee will now move into the general speakers list.
A single double tap will indicate the remaining time of 15 seconds, while 2 taps will signify that the delegate's allotted time has elapsed. Delegates wishing to be added to the GSL may raise your placards now.
Delegates, please hold your placards properly.
State of Palestine, Russian Federation, Singapore, China, Kuwait, United States of America, Syria, Israel, France, Portugal, India, Argentina, Turkey, Ukraine, New Zealand, Japan, Iran, Qatar, Sweden, Iraq, Italy, Jordan, Switzerland, Finland, Pakistan, Egypt, Indonesia, South Africa, Denmark, Spain, Spain, Canada, Greece, Mexico, Democratic Republic of Korea, Saudi Arabia, Romania, Norway, Hungary, United Arab Emirates, United Kingdom, Germany, Oman, Lithuania, Bangladesh, Algeria, Poland, Netherlands, Lebanon, Thailand, Belgium, Zimbabwe, Australia, Malaysia, Monaco, Maldives, Brazil, Ireland, Venezuela, Czech Republic,
Delegate of Israel, since you proposed the motion, you may go first.
Thank you, sir, for recognizing the delegate of Israel. May I bless?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Honorable Chair and distinguished delegates, the delegation of Israel will not apologize for defending its citizens. Let us make one fact absolutely clear. Hamas is a terrorist organization, not a freedom movement, not a government, but a radical militia that thrives on chaos, targets civilians, and hides behind women and children to manipulate international sympathy. Since October 7th, Israel has been under relentless rocket fire, cross-border terror, and unspeakable violence. We ask this committee, would your nation stay silent if your citizens were butchered, kidnapped, and terrorized? Israel is exercising its legal and moral right to self-defense as enshrined in Article 51 of the UN Charter. Every nation would do the same. We do not target civilians. We target terrorists who deliberately embed themselves in civilian areas. The tragic loss of life in Gaza lies squarely at the feet of Hamas, which chooses war over peace and death over diplomacy. This is not a conflict of equals. This is a sovereign nation defending itself from terror, and Israel will not be lectured on morality by nations who remain silent when Israeli children die, but suddenly find their voice when Israel retaliates. Peace cannot begin with calls for restraint, it begins with the end of terror. Thank you.
Delegate of Israel, you have 9 seconds remaining. How would you like to lead it?
The delegate of Israel would like to lead the remaining time with the points of information.
Delegate of Israel is now open to points of information. Countries who would like to raise it. State of Palestine, you have been recognized.
Delegate of Israel claiming act of self-defense. How does it justify the displacement of 1.9 million people in Gaza and the bombing of schools, hospitals, and UN shelters under international protection?
Please rephrase it.
How does Israel justify its claim for self-defense when 1.9 million Gazans are displaced and schools are bombed, hospitals are used to rubble, which are under UN international protection?
May I reply?
Yes, you may.
Israel does not do it with any pure intentions. We are just targeting Hamas. And Hamas is residing in those schools and hospitals, and we are forced to take out the civilians that are residing in that area for their protection. We are targeting Hamas, and Hamas is disturbing all the civilians which are residing in their areas, and we do not target civilians intentionally. We just try to save them from Hamas, as Hamas is using them as their protection shields to save from Israel. Thank you.
May I please follow?
Granted.
Why does Israel continue to enforce on land, air, and sea blockade in Gaza, punishing civilians for actions of a group it says that itself claims not a representative of Palestine?
Could you please rephrase?
Why does Israel continue to enforce land, air, and sea blockade on Gaza, while and itself will not being a representative of Palestine or nor its people? How does it see that enforcing these values upon this land which it doesn't even own? How does it justify that?
Maryland?
Yes, you may.
The blockade, which you said, is a security measure, not collective punishment. It is imposed to prevent the smuggling of weapons and materials used by Hamas and other terrorist organizations, and it is to prevent Israel from further attacks that Hamas does. Israel continue to allow humanitarian aid, fuel, food and medical supplies into Gaza through coordination with international organizations, provided that it does not stop all the aid which to enter in Palestine in Gaza, but we are applying certain restrictions to protect our national security. Thank you.
Granted.
What legal basis does Israel use to justify targeting journalists, medical workers, and UN aid convoys? Incidents confirmed by Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International.
Maryland?
Yes, you may.
As I said that I do not, Israel do not target intentionally. We just target the terrorists who are invaded in land, and we deeply regret to lose any civilian life, either it be of Palestine or it be of Israel. We just target Hamas, and there is no intention behind killing all the journalists or the civilians residing in Palestine. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Due to time constraints, further follow-ups will be entertained via chat. Delegate of Turkey, you have been recognized.
Thank you, Chair, for recognizing the delegates of Turkey. In the recent Russian invasion of Ukraine, the Israeli Congressman and Mr. Netanyahu calls it and openly calls it a genocide. But when Gaza, Palestine and West Bank is considered, he doesn't call it a genocide.
How would the delegates of Israel openly says that the act done in Ukraine is a genocide,
But in Israel, it's not.
Maryland?
Yes, you may.
We are protecting our civilians, we are protecting our territory from the terrorists, from Hamas. We have seen that Hamas can deliberately embed themselves in our territory, and they continue to war, they continue to attacks, they continue to fire rockets without even thinking, without even giving signs. So it's our duty to defend our nation, and Israel is doing that, and we will not be lectured by anyone if for defending ourselves. We are defending our territory, our civilians, our nation, and it is our national right to defend ourselves. Thank you.
We need to follow up.
Granted.
Rather, let me elaborate this to you. In the name of retaliation, you have killed over 60,000 innocent civilians, 17,000 children. Are they a terrorist organization? Do they belong to Hamas? Do they belong to the terrorist organization? As you have told, let me elaborate it once again. These all are official deaths told. There are many unofficial deaths told, which says and suggests us that there may be more than 100,000 civilians which must be dead till now, and there are many genocidal statements given by your president, Mr. Netanyahu. Let me quote some of those. The Palestinian civilians are scum, subhumans, and women and children should be separated so that men could be killed. These are the statements given by the Deputy Speaker in the Israeli Parliament and the senior member of the Labour Party. Rather, let me quote it again for you. Mr. Netanyahu said, Hamas is an asset for Israel. How would you like to defend it? Rather, first of all, your president is saying that we are defending our country. On the other hand, you have killed over 60,000 people, 17,000 innocent children, and are playing Gaza game right now.
May I reply?
Yes, you may.
First of all, I would like to correct you, that's not a president, that's a prime minister. And secondly, I would like to give an answer that Israel, as I said, as I mentioned in my speech too, that Israel does not kill intentionally. Israel is just killing the terrorists, the people involved in the organization of Hamas. I would say that Hamas is using women, children, and all the people living in Palestine as a protection, as seed. They are living in hospitals. They have created bunkers. They have created burglars inside hospitals and schools, and we are forced to kill them. They are just using them, the civilians, as a shield. And if Israel will not attack on the terrorists, it will be very dangerous for our nation. We are just killing the terrorists, as I mentioned every time, that Israel is just killing the terrorists. We have no intention to kill the civilians, to innocent lives. We just try to precise our targets and kill the terrorists who are embedding themselves in schools and hospitals, and they are using civilians as a protection, as a shield to play in the international level, in the international organizations, to play a victim card, as I said.
Need to follow up.
Due to time constraints, further follow-ups will be entertained via chat. Delegate of Sweden, you have been recognized.
Given Israel's advanced military and frequent airstrikes, including advanced military resources which you have, which is causing casualties in Gaza, how does Israel ensure its action comply with the international humanitarian laws and it minimizes its harm to civilians?
Yes, you may.
We are the only nation that follows the guidelines created by the UNSC. We drop leaflets, we give sirens, we provide information to the people living in Gaza before attacking. And there's no sudden attack which we do. We feel deeply regret if any civilian loses their life. We, as I said, that we often give leaflets and sirens and warnings before attacking, and that's where we follow the international guidelines before attacking.
Need to follow up.
Due to time constraints, further follow-ups and questions of other delegates will be entertained via chat.
Delegate of Palestine, you are recognized for the next 90 seconds.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Delegate.
Thank you, sir. Recognized with the delegation of Palestine. May I now recognize?
Yes, you may.
Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates. Delegation of Palestine speaks today not out of anger, but out of necessity, driven by decades of unfulfilled resolutions, unpunished violations, and a peace process that has manipulated into paralysis. In Gaza, over 2 million civilians live under blockade. Fuel, food, and medical supplies are choked at the border. Children grow up by rubber and drones, their future dictated by restrictions they did not choose. Every hospital bombed, every school destroyed, and this pushes us further from stability and closer to catastrophe. Palestine will not excuse or glorify violence. It must be said, occupation breeds resistance. We refuse to be portrayed as the aggressor while our land is carved up, our voices silenced, and our rights denied. The committee has the power to set precedent, not through symbolic language, but through meaningful action. The two-state solution cannot be where one state dominates and the other is expected to be grateful for survival. Palestine demands an equal and real accountability and a diplomatic process that values justice as much as peace. How long will the world continue calling for peace without first calling out the roots of injustice? Thank you.
Delegate of Palestine, you have 20 seconds remaining. How would you like to use it?
Delegate of Palestine would like to reveal the remaining time to points of information.
Delegate of Palestine is now open to points of information. Countries who would like to raise it.
Delegate of Israel, you have been recognized.
Thank you, Chair. Given the significant humanitarian aid flowing into Palestinian territories from international donors, including Israel, what concrete steps are being taken by the Palestinian Authority to ensure this aid reaches those most in need, rather than being diverted or used for purposes that undermine peace and security, as has been alleged with some funds related to terror activities?
May I reply?
Yes, you may.
As the question arises for humanitarian aid being given to Gazans and Palestinian people, yes, we have received humanitarian aid, but the current situation, which is that under 6 months in Gaza, there has been no humanitarian convoy which has entered its borders. Let's not forget, Israel controls its borders, controls its airspace, and the humanitarian aid which goes into it, not Palestine nor the PA. We have the current situation with Gaza is that we have no adversive right because of a violent political split that happened with Hamas in Gaza. And as for the humanitarian aid reaching the right people, reaching its citizens, it has reached Palestine, but unfortunately Gaza remains stuck at the border with no humanitarian aid, and the PA not being able to do anything about it because of restrictions of a blockade on Israel controlling its borders, airspace, and the humanitarian aid that goes into it.
Do you follow? Israel is controlling the airspace and the territories because of its security reasons. But I was trying to say that what were you doing when the aids were being moved into your territory and those aids were being captured by Hamas? Is your government so weak that they are not able to control Hamas? Hamas is taking all the actions in your country. Hamas is operating. So what's PLO doing in Gaza? Is it useless? How would you like to justify that?
May I reply?
Yes, Simran.
As the question again arises, let me again be clear that due to a violent political split, Hamas remains in the de facto government of Gaza. As for the question about government being weak, let us not forget that the Palestinian Authority still fights for its people and will continue to fight for its people, even though its actions are not recognized internationally, not covered by popular news channels, and not being seen by opposing nations. As the question again arises, that what is PLO doing in Gaza? Well, Gaza, let us not forget, is an extremist violent organization that hides in hospitals, in schools, and in humanitarian shelters, which the Israeli government is forced to bomb. Yes, it is due to security concerns that Israel controls the airspace of Gaza as well as its borders. But how will you explain that no humanitarian convoy has entered in Gaza for 6 months? And also, how would you explain the IDF attacking 13 UN protected civilians which were in a UN protected area in Gaza receiving humanitarian aid, while the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, fired upon them, leaving no survivor alive? How would you justify that?
To further,
Granted.
Israel attacked those UN vehicles because according to IDF, it was containing some of the military equipments as per our research. And we had to do that for protection. First of all, I would like to clarify that Gaza is not a terrorist organization, Hamas is, as you mentioned. And secondly, I would like to say that it means you're claiming that Hamas is so powerful that Palestine is bounded and is kneel down in front of Hamas as it is not able to do anything in Palestine. Is PLO so weak that it is not able to control Hamas from decades? From getting support from UN, you are getting support from all the big nations in the world, but still you are not able to control Hamas. Is the government of Palestine so weak that you are not able to control the terrorists who are using children and women as their protection shields? You are so weak that you are just living in the bunkers and using civilians as a protection shield. How would you like to justify that, Delegate of Palestine?
May I reply?
Yes, Simran.
Delegate, if you're suggesting the Palestinian civilians deserve collective punishment for actions of Hamas, then let me ask you, did every civilian in Tel Aviv authorize the airstrike in Gaza? Did every child ask to sign up a blockade, which is a war crime under the Geneva Convention, which is enforced by Israel? And how can you hold millions of Palestinians accountable for armed factions we do not control and we have no command over? This is not justice, that is vengeance you are suggesting, and vengeance is not a UN principle, let us not forget.
Granted. Israel is just defending its territory, and as a delegate of Israel, it's our priority to defend our nation, and controlling your civilians and controlling the territory is just for our security concerns and not for something to objectify. We are controlling the places of Palestine, as we have seen that Hamas, after giving them space, they continue to attack deliberately several times. From the decades we can see that Hamas is continuing to embed themselves in Israel after being stopped after the peace treaties too. So this is our priority to defend, and this is the only option after giving all the freedom to Hamas. So this was my answer. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Delegate of Palestine.
May I reply?
Yes.
Let me be extremely clear. Hamas is not a Palestinian authority. Hamas is not Palestine. Nor does it represent the people of Palestine. We did not vote for them. We did not arm them. We do not have control over them. If the Palestinian Authority has clashed with Hamas repeatedly, politically and militarily, and has condemned its several attacks, if the international community wants peace, it must stop treating all Palestinians as proxies of Hamas, and that mindset is what fuels a war machine. The question is not why does Hamas attack. The question is why are 2.3 million civilians being punished for something they neither choose for or neither did.
Due to time constraints, further follow-ups will be entertained by Richard. Delegate of United States of America, you have been recognized.
Thank you, Shiru. If the state of Palestine demands statehood under international law, why haven't you ratified or enforced more human rights treaties within Palestinian territories?
I would like to reply this question via Richard.
Thank you, Delegate of United States of America. Delegate of Egypt, you are recognized.
Thank you, Chair, for recognizing the delegate of Egypt. The Palestinian leadership has consistently called for international humanitarian relief and protection of civilians, yet contain armed factions operating from within Palestinian territories continue to launch attacks that genocide those very civilians and obstruct aid deliveries. How does the state of Palestine reconcile demanding protection for its people while stimulating, allowing, or falling to prevent actions that invite retaliation and suffering on the same paper?
Ask you, how do you prove that there are armed factors within the Palestinian state administration? How do you explain there are armed factions currently in West Bank?
As the delegate of Israel mentioned, within the territories of Palestine, Hamas as a terrorist organization is working and attacking different civilians and innocent peoples, and you are not able to control them. Why is that?
Let me be
Yes, sir.
Let me be clear again. Hamas is not the Palestinian Authority, nor does it represent the people of Palestine. As for its control, he wished for a nation to march into the territory. It does not control its flags, guns, and to fight against its own civilians. He wished for government for the PA to fight against a violent extremist group which endangers its 2.3 million civilians which reside in Gaza, which are already suffering enough. As for control over Hamas, due to a political violent split that happened in 2007, Hamas controls the area of the Gaza Strip, and the Palestinian Authority has no control over the administration of Hamas. Yes, it is an extremist violent group, but deeming political control and responsibility to Palestine to a part of Gaza which it does not control, which it had no command over, is simply unfactually incorrect.
Need to follow.
Not granted. Due to time constraints, the questions of other delegate will be entertained by a chair. Thank you,
Thank you,
Delegate. Thank you, Delegate of Israel. Delegate of Russian Federation, you have been recognized for the next 90 seconds.
Chair, may I move to the next?
Yes, you may.
Honorable Chair and esteemed delegates, the Russian Federation rises today with deep concern over the deteriorating humanitarian crisis in the region of Israel and Palestine. We must collectively recognize that the loss of innocent lives, the destruction of essential infrastructure, and the obstruction of aid are unacceptable breaches of human dignity and international law. Russia believes that humanitarian relief must be non-political, unconditional, and immediate. Civilians, regardless of nationality or religion, must not be made victims of political disputes. The Russian Federation calls for an immediate and sustained humanitarian corridor facilitated by neutral international actors including the United Nations and the Red Crescent, medical convoys, food supplies, or the displacement of civilians. At the same time, Russia emphasizes the need for respecting sovereignty and ensuring that aid is not manipulated to serve military objectives. At the same time, the Russian Federation acknowledges the right of all nations, including Israel, to have security and peace. We condemn acts of terror and violence from any side. We urge the international community to act not with words of selective sympathy but impartial urgency. Russia is ready to contribute to humanitarian relief efforts and to facilitate negotiations grounded in fairness and justice. Thank you.
Delegate of Russian Federation, you have exhausted your allotted time limit. You may proceed with the next delegate. Thank you, Delegate of Russian Federation. Delegate of Singapore, you have been recognized.
For recognizing Singapore, may I proceed to this?
Yes, you may.
Esteemed delegates, we come here not to ignite the fires of vengeance, but to shine as a beacon of truth. We come here not with the weapons of war, but with conscience. We come here to declare that terrorism has no cause, no excuse. From the blood-soaked streets of Gaza to shattered lives of innocent children, we have seen how hatred walks in the shadow of silence. We have seen how hostage takers speak louder than peacekeepers. We have seen how extremists drown out reason with rockets and hope with fear. But I say to you today, Singapore says to you today, go home. We will not stand by while ideology becomes ammunition. We will not stand down while civilians become collateral. We will not stand silent while justice is delayed and peace is denied. Let us together declare that every faction fueled by terror shall be named, challenged, and dismantled. That our intelligence will unite not to spy but to shield. That our peace force shall heal not as warriors but as builders of trust. Singapore presents its hand and its treasure, $50 million to rebuild what terror could not destroy, the human spirit. Let us not ask when the guns will stop. Let us ask when the hearts will start. Let this be the day world stood tall and said, enough. Thank you.
Delegate of Singapore, since you have exhausted your allotted time limit, we will proceed with the next delegate. Thank you, Delegate of Singapore. Delegates, please try not to exhaust your allotted time limit so that you can open to questions from other delegates. Delegate of China, you have been recognized for the next 90 seconds.
Chair, may I continue?
Yes, you may.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and good morning, distinguished delegates. The People's Republic of China stands before you, deeply concerned by the devastating humanitarian crisis in Palestine and Israel. According to the United Nations, over 35,000 Palestinians have been killed since the most recent escalation, with 80% Gaza's population displaced and over half of essential infrastructure destroyed. The human cost of this conflict is unacceptable. China firmly believes that peace cannot be achieved through bombs and blockades. Only through dialogue, justice, and respect for international law can we heal the Middle East. China supports the establishment of an independent Palestinian state along the 1967 borders, with East Jerusalem as its capital, while guaranteeing Israel's legitimate security concerns. We call for an immediate and unconsolidated ceasefire, the opening of UN-monitored humanitarian corridors, and full support for the agencies like UNRWA, whose work is being crippled by underfunding and obstructions. At the same time, China is deeply disappointed by certain nations who repeatedly abuse their veto power to shield clear violation of international law. Such double standards not only prolong the conflict, but also undermine the credibility of this body. The international community cannot afford to ignore its moral and legal responsibilities. In closing, China urges this council to rise above political divisions and assembly to protect civilians and recommit to a just and lasting two-state solution. The world is watching and history will judge us, not by our words, but by our actions. Thank you.
Delegate of China, you have exhausted your allotted time limit. We'll proceed with the next delegate. Thank you, Delegate of China.
Thank you, Chair.
Delegate of Turkey, you have been recognized for the next 90 seconds.
Thank you, Chair, for recognizing the delegate of Turkey. May I approach the dais?
Yes, you may. It's a gentle reminder for all the delegates to not exhaust their...
Fellow delegates, I indeed stand here as a delegate of Turkey, but more as a supporter of Palestine and its people. We well know that the act done by Hamas on October 7th was a crime, and taking civilians and hostages is a war crime. But more than 60,000 people have perished, more than 17,000 children are dead under the rubble. Israel has turned Gaza into 42 million tons of rubble, converting it into a hell on earth and a graveyard of children, which includes a grave of a 5-year-old child called Hind Rajab, by ruthlessly killing her with 335 bullets by the IDF. These are not the statistics, these are the testimony of the barbarity which the international community has allowed to unfold. The leaked images of the Israeli prisons showed what kind of barbarians the people of Gaza are facing. Israel has killed 172 UN journalists, 500 medics, 215 human personals, bombed 132 ambulances, 820 mosques, 3 churches, over 100 schools, refugee camps and markets. Indeed, Israel holds no justification to this heinous crime. There is no point indefensible to excuse the inexcusable and to justify and unjustifiable. Thank you.
Delegate of Turkey, you have 19 seconds remaining. How would you like to use it?
Delegate of Turkey would like to use this remaining time to points of information.
Delegate of Turkey is now open to points of information. Countries who would like to raise it. Delegate of France, you are recognized.
Thank you, Chair. Turkey condemns Israel for civilian casualties in Gaza, but have no statements on Hamas's action, like targeting civilians during the October 7th attack. So, my question is, if you are really concerned about protecting innocent life, should you not condemn Hamas's action too, or is selective condemnation part of Turkey's foreign policy?
Chair, may I reply?
Yes, you may.
The delegate of Turkey clearly says, and in my speech, I also condemned the action done by Hamas on October 7th was a crime, and taking civilians and hostages is a war crime. I clearly said it right now in my speech, and indeed, Israel is creating a terrorism, if you call Hamas a terrorist attack, on October 7th. Let me clarify that. Israel has killed more than 60,000 civilians, 17,000 children. Is that not a genocide? Is that not about terrorism, your country does not even recognize the Palestinian states, and you have the audacity right now to speak about it.
Thank you. Thank you, Delegate of France. Delegate of Hungary, you have been recognized.
Humanitarian values must be universal. If aid is offered only to align with the country's political stance, then it raises a fundamental question. Is it really about humanity or just propaganda? So my question is, what humanitarian aid has Turkey provided directly to civilians in both Gaza and Israel, or is it supporting one side?
May I reply?
Yes, you may.
The country of Turkey has given $200 million directly to the civilians and indeed to the normal aid giving pieces in normal grounds of Gaza. And if you are asking me that which side do we support openly, we indeed support the side of Palestinians. We indeed support the sides of Palestinians, not the Israeli, not the genocide, not the terrorism. We have clearly mentioned that we don't support terrorism, we support the innocent people of Gaza, which are dead by starvation, which Israel has created, which Israel has used as weaponizing. They are first starving the children of Gaza, they are first starving the civilians of Gaza, they have cut off food, they have cut off electricity, they have cut off indeed water, and now this is what is happening right now in Gaza. Yes, we support the people of Gaza, we support the people of Palestine, we support the people of the West Bank.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Delegate of Hungary.
Due to time constraints, the questions of other delegate were maintained by a chair.
Thank you, Delegate of Turkey.
Thank you, sir.
Delegate of Ukraine, you have been recognized for the next 90 seconds.
Yes, you may. Yes, you may.
Honorable Chair and distinguished delegates, the delegates of Ukraine stand gravely concerned by ongoing humanitarian crisis unfolding in the Middle East, particularly in the context of Israel-Palestine conflicts. As a nation that has experienced the devastating consequence of war and foreign aggression, Ukraine empathizes deeply with the innocent civilians caught between crossfire, displacement, and political mental states. In the ancient city, reborn by agony and called in resilience, the people of earth coverage, not trapped in Trump, not locked in surrenders, but armed in something greater. The unyielding spirit of human hope under the scared vault of St. Sophia, where echoes of centuries speak of sorrows and survivals, a new thunder rolls not of cannon fires but of resolutions. Peace, my friend, is not the inheritance of empire, it is the cry of the broken, the dream of the orphan, the breath of children who have known of but those some were trembling skies. Ukraine, scared and so on, stepped forward not with arms but with flame, forward wisdom and a light that dares the darkness. Thank you.
Delegate of Ukraine, you have exhausted your allotted time limit. We'll proceed with the next delegate. Thank you, Delegate of Ukraine. Delegate of New Zealand, you have been recognized.
Thank you, Chair, for recognizing Delegate of New Zealand. May I approach the dais?
Yes, you may.
Honorable delegates, New Zealand stands resolutely for peace, justice, and equal dignity of all people. The Israel-Palestine conflict is not a simply dispute regarding territory. It's a deep and ongoing humanitarian crisis. For decades, both people have suffered, but the cost of this conflict is increasingly faced by the innocent. We support a two-state solution, a secure Israel and an independent Palestine. This is not just a political stand, It is a moral obligation. The ongoing killing of civilians, particularly children, is unacceptable. No cause justifies the bombing of homes, the targeting of hospitals, or the trauma inflicted upon the civilians. Violation of international law, including expansion of illegal settlements, collective punishment, the blockade of Gaza, and targeting of civilian area, must be called out clearly and consistently. These are not just political failures, they are breaches of the rules that protect humanity. As men in leadership, in policy, and in our communities, we must speak out not with empathy, but with resolve. Silence enables impunity. Peace is not a pathway, it is a bold choice that demands accountability, justice, courageous diplomacy. Thank you.
Delegate of New Zealand, you have 8 seconds remaining. How would you like to yield it?
Delegate of New Zealand would like to yield this remaining time to points of information.
Delegate of New Zealand is now open to points of information. Countries who would like to raise it.
Delegate of Russian Federation, you have been recognized.
Considering New Zealand's consistent stance on peace and multilateralism, what concrete steps is your nation taking to push for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire and ensure the neutral, unhindered delivery of aid in Gaza and affected Israeli regions?
Can you repeat the question?
Considering New Zealand's consistent stance on peace and multilateralism, what concrete steps is your nation taking to push for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire and ensure the neutral, unhindered delivery of aid in Gaza and affected Israeli regions?
New Zealand is trying its best.
Yes, sir.
New Zealand is trying its best to lead a large-scale, small-scale initiative of ceasefire and humanitarian aid. Although it is very difficult due to practical limitations, but New Zealand will be strong and advocate for such initiatives within multilateral forums like United Nations.
Granted.
How does New Zealand ensure that its humanitarian aid to Palestine is not obstructed or politicized by external powers, and what measure is it taking to hold those who block such aid accountable?
New Zealand provides humanitarian aids to Palestine and Gaza through third parties, organizations like Mechanism for Gaza, United Nations. They send the humanitarian aid through these parties who can directly provide the aid toward the required.
Thank you, Delegate of Russian Federation. Delegate of Romania, you have been recognized.
May I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
How can New Zealand claim to support peace while exporting goods to Israel, enabling an occupation that crushes Palestinian hopes?
Yes, sir.
There are no trades between New Zealand and Palestinians in the given record by New Zealand government.
So how do I have the New Zealand Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade as a source recently?
Can you
Yes, sir.
can you just phrase the records which you have got?
Can you Chair.
Yes, Sumit. Thank you, Delegate from Romania. Due to time constraints, questions of other delegates will be entertained via chat. Thank you, Delegate of New Zealand.
Thank you, Chair.
Delegate of Yemen.
Yes, Sumit.
Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates, the state of Kuwait stands before the Council with deep concern over the worsening humanitarian aid and political crisis in the occupied Palestinian territory. For decades, the people of Palestine have faced displacement, siege and violence. As a long-standing supporter of international law and human rights, Kuwait firmly condemns the indiscriminate targeting of civilians, the expansion of illegal settlements, and violations of Geneva Conventions. Our government have committed millions in humanitarian aid through agencies like UNRWA and recently partnered with UNDP to provide clean drinking water to displaced families in Gaza. These actions reflect our belief in constructive solutions, not just condemnations. Kuwait supports a two-state solution based on pre-1967 borders, with East Jerusalem as the capital of Palestine, and remains open to diplomatic efforts, including the revival of Arab Peace Initiative. In this committee, we urge delegates to prioritize humanitarian access, immediate ceasefire, and negotiations. Thank you.
Delegate of Kuwait, you have 20 seconds remaining. How would you like to yield it?
The delegate of Kuwait would like to yield the remaining time to questions.
The delegate of Kuwait is now open to questions from other delegates. The delegates would like to raise questions, may raise their placards now. Delegate of Spain, you have been recognized.
Kuwait has been a vocal in support of Palestine, but what concrete diplomatic or humanitarian action has it taken during this current crisis?
In this crisis, we have committed millions of we have given millions in the UNDP funds and provided clean waters to displaced families in Gaza.
Delegate of Greece, you have been recognized.
As the most viable long-term outcome for peace?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
The two-state solution must be is the most is the best aid for now. We support the two-state solutions based on pre-1967 borders, and these are the rights for the Palestinian peoples. These diplomatic efforts will lead to the revival of Arab Peace Initiative.
Thank you, Delegate of Greece. Delegate of Iraq, you have been recognized.
While supporting Palestine, how does Kuwait ensure its stance contribute to peace rather than escalating regional tensions?
Yes, Kuwait supports peace, but not at the cost of truth. Resolution diagnosed occupation, displacement, and civilians' death does not balance, it's blind.
Thank you. Thank you, Delegate of Iraq. Delegate of China, you have been recognized.